Hello everyone! Today we're diving into two major literary movements that changed storytelling forever: realism and naturalism. But before we dive into the definition of each literary movement, let's first take a look at what was happening during that time because context matters. The realism movement originated in France as a reaction against Romanticism and later gained popularity in the United States. At the same time, another powerful force was reshaping society. With the arrival of the Industrial Revolution, multiple population rapidly relocated from rural areas to bigger cities in search of job opportunities and better living conditions. As society transformed, so did the scientific thought. Charles Darwin's theory of evolution played a significant role in these two literary movements by emphasizing the natural selection and the struggle for survival. Many authors of this area saw this as an insight into the human condition, suggesting that, just like animals, humans were no exception to the laws of nature. Meanwhile, in the US, a major and political social conflict was unfolding. Between the years 1861 and 1865, the American Civil War broke out between the Union and the Confederacy, mainly over slavery and states' rights. The Union's victory ended slavery and kept the nation united.
Alright, so now that we know the background, what exactly is realism and what is naturalism? Let's break it down. The definition of realism is: the realism art movement of the 19th century was a dramatic shift of the previous literary movement, Romanticism. Literary realism represents reality as it is. By portraying mundane, everyday activities, it depicts the life of a middle and lower class, centering in the inner duel of the individual. Definition of naturalism: naturalism, on the other hand, was a way of writing that showed how people's lives were shaped by things they cannot control, like nature, poverty, or society. It often shows life as harsh and difficult without trying to make it look better than it is. But what is the difference between each movement? What do they share in common? Let's take a closer look in the following infographic. We analyze the similarities and difference between each one. Let's see first the differences between realism and naturalism. Realism is grounded in reality, while naturalism exaggerates reality. Naturalism focuses in the middle class, and naturalism focuses in the lower class. Realism also emphasizes in the faithful representation of reality. Naturalism emphasizes the nature as a force. However, even though they have their differences, like a married couple, they also share some similarities. Both make an emphasis in reality, emerge in the 1800s, and present a lack of religious emphasis.
Now that we understand the differences between each literary movement, let's take a look at some of the iconic authors of the era.
In this fine selection of artworks, we have representing realism Fyodor Dostoevsky and Louis Couperus. From the naturalism side, we have Stephen Crane and Jack London. First in the lineup of realism, we have Fyodor Dostoevsky, born November 1821. He was a Russian novelist and short story writer, known for his variety of genres: literary modernism, existentialism, and various schools of psychology, theology, and literary. One of the most representing Dostoevsky works is The Brothers Karamazov. It's a murder mystery, a courtroom drama, and an exploration of erotic rivalry in a series of triangular love affairs involving the wicked and the sentimental, Fyodor Pavlovich Karamazov and his three sons. Through the gripping events of their story, Dostoevsky portrays the whole of Russia's life in a social and a spiritual thriving in what was both the golden age and a tragic turning point in Russian culture. As honorable mentions, we have Crime and Punishment and The Idiot. As the next representative, of realism, we have Louis Couperus, born June 10, 1863. He was one of the greatest Dutch novelists of the 1880 literary revival. His works contain a wide variety of genres, such as lyric poetry, psychological and historical novels, novellas, and short stories, ranging from French influenced realism of his first and best known, Alien Bere. Alien Bere is a passionate and rebellious young socialite living in The Hague in the late 19th century. Driven by a highly active imagination, she attempts to escape the narrow confines of her bourgeois existence and to force reality to live up to her dreams. But the world has other plans. In Elie Bere, with its fascinating heroine and supporting cast of her female friends and relatives, Couperus minutely and vividly evokes the characters, conventions, manners, and hypocrisies of Dutch society of the 1889. Honorable mentions of Couperus' works are The Twilight of the Souls and The Psyche.
Stephen Crane. Stephen Crane was an American novelist, poet, and short story writer. He's best known for The Red Badge of Courage, a powerful novel about a young soldier in the Civil War. Born in New Jersey, Crane left college to become a journalist and drew from real life experiences in his writing. Later works like The Open Boat and The Blue Hotel explored harsh realities and helped define American naturalism. One of Crane's most famous works, The Red Badge of Courage, is a great example of naturalism. It explores the raw, realistic experience of a young soldier facing fear, violence, and survival during the Civil War. The novel focuses on how environment, chance, and instinct shape human behavior, which are key elements of naturalist movement. Jack London. Jack London was an American author from San Francisco. He wrote powerful adventure stories like The Call of the Wild, White Fang, and To Build a Fire. Before becoming a writer, he worked tough jobs that shaped his view of the world. His stories, set in harsh natural environments, explore themes like survival, instinct, and the power of nature. His work, To Build a Fire, is a short story that follows a younger miner who travels to Yukon in search of gold. He falls through ice and tries to build a fire, but ultimately fails. With the lack of heat, he freezes to death and his dog heads to find food and warmth in the mining camp. This is a great example that shows one key element of naturalism, in this case the experience of a man surviving under harsh, uncontrollable climate conditions. So, what can we take away from all of this? Realism focuses on real life as it is. It shows the daily experiences of ordinary people, especially those from the middle class. On the other hand, naturalism goes even further, showing how people's lives are influenced by things that they can't really control, like nature, poverty, or society.
Thanks a lot for watching, and remember, like and subscribe.